here's what you have as your kit with the gold drop. Now I'll show you how to set it up right now. First off, we got the gold drop. This unit here, got 3 barrels. Currently they're all 3 full of water, so just eliminated that step now. Drop the gold drop on the edge of the barrel and secure with a screw. Now, some of these barrels have this lip in here, so when you tighten up, it's going to cause the gold drop to kind of drop back a little bit. So I've just taken this little piece of pipe I have and stick it in here between like this. You can use a piece of wood or anything to shim it, so that when you tighten it, it doesn't actually pull it back and out of vertical. Being a little bit out of vertical has no problem at all. You know, gravity, whether it's 5 degrees off one way or the other, just really no effect. So you attach the gold drop like that. Then the other item here is the pump. So the pump, you're just going to drop it in the water and screw the hose connection together. So this feed line here also can just slip right off. So you can just do other different things with it too. Okay, so now we have our tailings buckets. This is the tailings bucket frame here. Just screw in the pipe pieces into the frame to support it. Now this will sit on top of this barrel right here, the bucket inside. And this is the discharge here. Just kind of move it around here, kind of point it just kind of light down at the bucket. It doesn't have to be in the water or anything like that. It can be off to the side. So, okay, now this is your nozzle here for cleaning out the funnel or cleaning out the bucket, whatever you have to clean out. Okay, these here are the 2 siphon lines that will transfer the water from barrel to barrel. So you insert them. The small end goes in the tailings barrel so that it draws the cleaner water off the top of the barrel to transfer over to the center barrel here. Now again, same thing, short end goes in here, so again it's pulling all the cleaner water, then transferring over to the pump barrel. So to get this going, you suck the air out between the two. Eventually this will be a suction hand pump so that you don't have to suck on it. Anyway, do the same thing with this one here. Draw out the air. Close the valve. Okay, so now we have a complete transfer of one barrel to the other. So as the water is pumped out of this barrel here, transferred to the gold drop, drops into the tailings bucket, fills this barrel here, this water fills up, forces the water out and into this barrel here due to gravity. And then again with this one here, as it fills up and this drains, then the difference in level of the water, they balance out. So that's how the whole system works. So let's go ahead and plug it in, and what you're going to do here now is you're going to go ahead and open the valve and turn on the valves all the way. Just open it up so that we can get the water circulating through the entire system, even here on the top valve here. So now you start the pump in the battery here. As you can see, it's filling up, getting everything going. Water's coming out, filling up the tailings bucket. And you can kind of see water splashing out of here too. So now you let the tailings bucket fill up. Still draining air. Okay, so now it's full of water. Because a couple of flaws I have, it has a little bit of a leak, but yours doesn't leak. Okay, so that's the basic setup and how you get started. So next we'll cover how you feed it and what you're going to expect there. To continue our demonstration, I'm going to use some dirt that I purchased from Dave Veribioff at goldbait.com. He's a genuine dirt bag and gold seller that I trust wholeheartedly. He doesn't claim to be the best, because the best is this scenario. I'll sell you 2 ounces of gold for the price of 1. That's the best. But until the best shows, there is nobody better. So let's continue this. What I'll do now is I'll go ahead and classify this material through actually this screen right here. This is a well, it's a USA Standard sieve number 6. The openings are .0132, but in measuring the diagonal distance across the opening, it measures .165. So we're getting close to a 3/16 minus material that we're going to be classifying this to. So I'll classify it down and show you what we got. Here's what we have after classification. This is all of our plus 165 material that's not going to go through. And this is our minus 165 material we're going to process through the gold drop. Now we'll get you familiar with the different functions of the gold drop. Here on top we have the feed water valve, feeding water into the funnel. The second valve we have is the spin valve. This water here, this valve controls the amount of water that is swirling around inside the base of the feed tube here. This is adding additional water to the system to help fluidize the material to be able to flow freely inside. This valve here is the elutriation valve, E valve for short, as Rosie calls it. This valve here controls the vertical water flow of the elutriation process into the trap, which supports the dirt up into the funnel and allows the gold to drop through down into the jar at the base of the drop. This E valve, controlling the water flow in the elutriation process, this valve controls the water flow, which is gauged by this water meter here. This gauge is graduated from 0 to 1 gallon in tenths of a gallon. I'll get down below so you can kind of see it. So that's what we have. So that valve controls the flow of the water into the trap. And this is the valve that you adjust in order to watch the dirt and support it in the trap. To start processing material, we'll go through and we'll set the water flows at their appropriate levels. First off, we'll turn on the feed water and adjust it You don't need much water. You're trying to use as little water as possible to make this whole system work. So you just start off with minor water flows. To start the process, we're going to add a little bit of Dawn to the water here. Make it a little bit slippery. Probably, maybe, a couple of drops. One. Well, that might be enough. Now, because we are using so little water flow, the Dawn really won't have a chance to foam. You can see I have that discharge just at an angle and just under the water. So there really is no disturbance to create any of the foaming. And again, because the trap and the drop is full of water, there is no chance for any foaming internally either. So, the Dawn that I poured in here will be just fine, even though it was quite a bit. To start the process, I'm going to take a little bit here and dump it in, and we're going to observe and adjust the elutriation. Okay, so let's take a look at what's happening. Okay, as you can see, I have the water flow set, it's about 0.5, reading from the top of the indicator. So you can see that the material is being supported in the trap. Now the procedure is to start closing the valve very slowly until you start seeing material drop down. Oh, there's a flake of gold right there. Here comes some more gold. So let's just drop it down. There's a little piece of quartz. Now you can see some of the big mineral is flowing. So you can see the elutriation happening there. See the water coming up through the middle of the dirt. So because we're classified bigger, we're just going to run through at 0.4. And then once we run this material through a 0.4 and get what larger gold will come out, then we'll reclassify and run the next classification at a lesser amount of water. So this is good enough for the moment. Let's start processing. now I shall wash out what's left in the pan. Well, I'd say probably most of the gold is dropped out, and so now that you've kind of run everything, here, let me show you what the action is like in the rest of the trap here. Let me get around this side here. But you can kind of see how it's stratified. The smaller, where am I? There we go. The smaller material is gathered towards the top here, as then all of the heavier materials gather towards the bottom and then down to the trap. So that's what we got so far. Now we'll drop the jar and I'll show you what dropped out. The procedure for dumping the jar is as follows. You want to turn the drop water up quite a bit. I would say turn it up, probably about 0.7, 0.8, somewhere in there, because that'll keep all of the dirt and the gravel and stuff in the trap. Keep the elutriation tube clear, so that when you close the valve, there is no material that's going to fall on top of the gate, because when it does, and you open and close the valve, it drags all of that dirt and grit through the valve and scars the gate, and then makes it a little bit difficult to operate. If it does get material in the gate, you merely open and close it several times, and you can see it actually released a little bit of air still caught in the gate. And that'll generally clear any of the debris and fall into the jar so that it'll be easier to operate. Okay, so now that we've got the E-valve turned up so that the material is being supported in the trap, now we can close the valve and remove the jar. Just like that. So now I'll get a pan and we'll dump out the contents. Okay, so here's what's in the jar. Now you can see there is some little bit of mineral, but by golly, aren't those pickers. But boy, when Dave said that's flat flakes, boy, you sure wasn't kidding. That's some pretty flat stuff. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and reclassify. I'm going to reclassify down to 80 millimeter, or no, I mean 2 millimeter, basically 80 thousandths, and which is actually 100 thousandths across the diagonals. Let's see what we get coming out otherwise. So now that we have dumped the contents of the jar, we want to empty the contents of the rest of the trap here in order to be able to classify what else is in there. So leave the spin water turned on and the E-valve turned on, and then open the valve. Now we have the contents of the trap drained into this tailings bucket here. So now let's go ahead and reclassify and run it out. Here's what we have classified. This is the material that's over 80 thousandths. And this is the material here that we're going to run in the gold drop. Everything that's 2 millimeter and less. Now that we've emptied the jar contents, now we need to take this jar and fill it with water and screw it back on. Not an easy operation when you're holding a camera too. So screw it on, give it a little bit of a snug, and now that you're empty, there is no debris inside, just go ahead and open up the valve. You drain the water out, or drain the air out, excuse me. Give it a couple of openings so you get rid of all the air. It does hide a little bit of air in there, so, but really not important. Okay, now that we've done that, now we'll do our settings. Now we will go ahead and shut down the spin water because we don't want that to start. And now we'll adjust our E valve and the water flow. We'll set it up again about 0.5, 0.6, somewhere in there, just to keep everything suspended in the trap so we can then gently reduce our flow and get the gold to drop out. Now I'll add a little bit of dirt in order to see where our E valve position is going to be. Okay, so now we can start turning down the flow and start dropping things down into the tube. So here comes the heavies. And if there's any gold in there, it should be falling out. We'll go ahead and collect those little tiny pebbles. We'll let it come down a little bit more. See, the bigger rocks are really no problem. They're big pickers, so just allow them to go ahead and fall. It's the sand that you really don't want. Okay, let's go ahead and process. Okay, here we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of spin. Kind of keep things percolated. Okay, so now I'll wash the pan out. Okay, pan is clean. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean that up and see what we got. The procedure again is to turn up the E valve so that there is no dirt in the elutriation tube to fall on top of the valve. And now you can close the valve and remove the jar. And now, with all the water flows going, you don't want the dirt to be backing up into the water lines is the reason why. Let's go ahead and turn them on. Open the valve. And drain out the contents. You might even close the valve. There's still some dirt in there. Let it swirl around. And then empty it again. And turn off the valves and just let it drain out. Now for this operation, I like to use my gold claw. Since I'm not a gold miner, I don't know how to pan. So with this though, I don't need to know how to pan. So, here's what you have there. A few small specks, but more of the flat stuff. So, looks like we pretty much got it all. So, just for the heck of it, we're going to classify this one last time, probably down to 25 mesh. And let's see what might be in there then. So, right now, we'll just kind of add this to my collection. And there's what I got so far. You're right, Dave. Really flat stuff. Okay, onward. Well, I didn't have a 25 mesh screen, so I had a 35 mesh screen. It's a 1/2 millimeter, 20 thousandths. So this is the material I got screened out of this material here, which is a 1/2 millimeter in diameter. So we'll run this and see what gold might be in it. Jar's back on. Let's open the valve, get rid of the air. Give it a couple more closings and clear all the airs out of it. Close enough. Okay, now we'll go ahead and process this 1/2 millimeter material. Again, first off, go ahead and shut down the spin water completely off. Cut down the feed water. And then we'll set the E-valve. Well, since it's so much smaller now, I'm going to set it off at 0.4. And then we'll put a little bit in here and see what happens. Okay, well, you can see there's nothing coming down. So now we'll start dropping the water flow. Let some of this dirt come on down. Now, since it's so small, just go ahead and let it drop down to the top of the line. A little bit. Oh, maybe like right there. See, that's allowing just a little bit of mineral to drop in the jar. But when you see that happening too, your little gold falling in there also. Okay, so we've got that water set now. We'll go ahead and process the rest of this. Okay, I'll wash the rest of it in with the hose. Okay, the pan's empty. Just let that percolate a little bit. See the bigger materials falling out with any of our little gold too. Well, close enough. Let's see what's in there. Again, one more time, to empty the jar, we're going to turn up the flow and the drop, support all the dirt up in the trap so nothing drops down on top of the valve. Close the valve, remove the jar. And now you can open the valve and drain the trap. It's cleaned out. You can shut the water off and drain the trap. Just like that. Okay, let's see what's in this jar. Good old black sand. There is gold in there though. Well, there you have it. Little gold specks in there. Let's get rid of this here. Well, get up close and personal here. I don't know, can you see those little flecks? I can't see them, there's just too much light here. Can't see in the lens. But anyway, there they are. Not very big. But they are there. Well, there you have it. Demonstration of the gold drop. I hope this demonstration video has given you enough information to operate the gold drop efficiently and get all your gold and help contribute to your success as gold miners. Dave, thanks for being the best dirt bag seller there is. And even though you think you're not, well, there ain't no one better. And thanks for the gold. Well, carry on and wish you all the best of success. Thank you.